guys, so this is TBT, Throwback Thursday number 2, and this is all about my sophomore year of high school. Now I know this video is going to be a little bit longer than the last one just because a lot of stuff happened this year. My class schedule got really overwhelming. Things started to change this year, like a lot for me. And my personal life, I started to film this video already, and then I started to like recall things that I didn't write down, and I was like, oh my god, my personal life actually was a little bit completely ridiculous this year. So there's a lot to talk about there. So let's just get started. Again, I'm going to try to stay with the same format, sort of. Like my first one, you guys seem to like that. So I'm going to get started with the classes that I took. Okay, so I started my sophomore year of high school in 2007, and that summer before my sophomore year, I took summer school. So I did take my history class that I would have had to take my sophomore year that summer, so I wouldn't have to take it during the school year, so that I could do both drill team and dance and get out after 5th period. So I did get to leave early, which was really exciting, but unfortunately, I had to do 0 period drill team instead. 0 period. For those of you who have never had to experience the pain of 0 period, I have no sympathy for you guys, okay? Being at school at 7 in the morning is some form of torture. Looking back at it, I don't know how I did it. I now with my insomnia, I don't go to sleep until like 4. I can't even imagine having to wake up like 2 hours later to get ready and go to school. There's no. So anyway, as I said, I had 0 period drill team. I also had 4th period advanced dance. Advanced dance was always 4th period. And then my actual academic classes, I took 3 honors again. So I took pre-calc honors, chemistry honors, and Spanish 3 honors, and I also took regular English 2. This was the one and only year that I ever took regular English in high school, and oh, I would never do it again. There's a reason that I was in the honors AP track, can I just say. As I said, I was very overwhelmed this year. Things really started to change academically for me. As I said in my freshman year video, I did get my first B my sophomore year, and that definitely changed things for me. So pre-calc honors was when I got my first B. And for those of you who have never taken pre-calculus, it's very, very different from math that I had taken before. So Algebra 2 honors, which is what I took freshman year, was just, like a step up from the algebra that I had taken before. And geometry is, you're somewhat exposed to it in other math classes that, you grew up taking. So they weren't really, like, new things that were, like, freaking me out. Pre-calc was a whole different story. I have to say, it was my least favorite math class I've ever taken. Not that I love math, but there was at no point in pre-calc that I was enjoying it. I could say that even in my calc AB and BC classes, I feel like there was a point where I was like, this is kind of fun, which is kind of lame to say, but it was kind of fun. Pre-calc, I really liked my teacher. She wasn't the best teacher, but I liked her just in general. I actually babysat her son once, which was kind of fun. So I had a good relationship with her and everything. But just the class was hard for me. It was just really hard, and I was very overwhelmed. I had a serious lack of sleep this year. I was overwhelmed with all the stuff that was going on. So I wasn't my best, I guess, focus-wise either. Chemistry honors, I had the same chem teacher sophomore and junior years. This was the first year I had her, and my older brother had her before, and he had really liked her, and she had really liked him. My brother is very smart, though, so, everyone likes a smart kid. Well, at least a likable smart kid, which is what my brother was. I'm smart, but I'm not super smart, Things don't just come to me automatically. So this teacher had very high expectations of me, I guess, because she knew my brother and that he was very smart, and she thought I would be the same way. And I'm not stupid, but, I'm not as smart as him. And I never had a problem with that because, I am who I am and can't really be as smart as him because I'm not him. But it's difficult when teachers expect you to be the same. So there was that. Let's just say that was annoying. Spanish 3 honors. I had the same Spanish teacher that I had freshman year, and as I said in that video, she did pass away after I graduated, which is it's very sad still, but she was a great teacher. I really, really loved her, and she really liked people on the dance team, as I said, so she was always very nice to me. But again, this was the only year when Spanish actually got hard. Like, I was like, oh, there's so many more conjugations in Spanish 3. Started to learn about, like, different tenses, and it just got really, it was a lot. Like, I couldn't, it was hard. Everything just got hard. It was, I'm not gonna say it. And, as I said, this was the only year that it took regular English. Can I just say, English 2 made me feel incredibly stupid, but incredibly smart at the same time, because it made me feel stupid for taking it, because I was surrounded by a lot of not so smart people. And I'm not saying that there's not smart people in regular classes, because I know for a fact that there are, but there are so many who are just, I cannot understand the lack of common sense and common knowledge that there's just none in some people. It blew my mind. I think the teacher kind of hated me a little bit, because I think he could tell that I was just like not having it with these people, because the questions that they would ask were just so beyond reason that I was just like, I was like mind blown by the lack of intelligence. It was thoroughly confusing. I'm not saying that if you take regular classes that you're dumb, but there are some people, you know it too. There are some people who just, I don't understand. I feel bad, but I just, also, I can't even use words. See, there it goes. Okay, so that was my course load. Now, as I said, I did get my first B. So I got my first B in pre-calc honors, which was very sad for me because I'd never gotten one before. So I'd never known what it felt like to not get the highest grade you could possibly get. So it made me feel very, just like, why bother? Like, B's are fine. Like, the world's not ending if I get a B. And so it kind of just made me feel like, eh. But my parents were very upset with it. My grandparents were very upset with it. They were like, you didn't try very hard. And I'm like, it wasn't that I didn't try hard. I mean, maybe I didn't try my hardest, but I had a ton of stuff going on this year. I guess I haven't gotten to that point yet. This year, with drill team and dance, it was way different from my freshman year, because I had 0 period, but I also had after-school practices for dance, for advanced dance, that I hadn't had for intermediate my freshman year. So I had after-school dance practices, and I also had night practices for drill team. So it was just like way more than I'd ever had to do. School was harder. I had more time allocated out, not allocated, that's not the word I was looking for, just what out, that, can't talk. I had more time that I had to give to my extracurricular activities that, again, I hadn't had to do before. So it was just like a lot more time, or a lot less time, and a lot more stuff to do. So it was very overwhelming. So my grades weren't as great, my 1B. My grades weren't as great. My body was tired, my brain was tired, just everything was tired. I was stressed out, and it was overwhelming, and I was just like, ugh, this is ridiculous. And it was my sophomore year. I was like 15, like, you shouldn't feel that way when you're 15. Anyway, so I did get my first B. I ended up, in total, for the 2 semesters, I got B's both semesters for pre-calc, I believe, and then I think I got a B one semester for chem honors. So in all, I think I got 3 B's that year, and I felt like at that point I was like, you know what? B's are okay, and that's not an attitude I'd ever had before. And it's not an attitude that my parents ever have had. Not even now. They still don't think B's are okay. And my grandparents didn't think that was okay either. So it was just like, I don't know. I feel like at that point I started to feel like I was no longer like as loved or as like appreciated or cared about anymore, because of the fact that I wasn't performing as well as I used to. So that sucked, and that definitely affected things in the future for me. So keep that in mind for the next one. Okay, so I'm going to move on from that. You guys know I was stressed, I was overwhelmed, I was tired, I was just like not having it. And then my personal life that year, good times. So I started off the year single. I did talk about, I had a new boyfriend my freshman year, but we did break up during the summer before sophomore year, if I remember correctly. So I started off the year single, and then homecoming season came around. When is that, like November-ish, I think? And one of my friends in dance, I guess you could say, she liked to brag. She liked to brag about everything, and it wasn't just to me. In fact, it was never primarily to me. It was to a group of us, and we didn't care. It was just annoying. It was like, who cares? Stop, just stop bragging. Like, there's no reason for this. She got asked to homecoming in this, what she thought was a very extravagant way. He sent her on this scavenger hunt that, quite frankly, was kind of lame. No offense, I really like you, dude, but it wasn't that great. And so, but she made sure that everybody knew about it, and it was just like, okay, good for you. So the reason that this is relevant is that one of her exes, who I had known since 6th grade, he was in my pre-calc class, and we sat next to each other. And so we were just like, we're both very annoyed by her and the fact that she was just like all up into herself and everything. And so I don't remember who hatched the plan, but we were like, he was going to ask me to homecoming. We weren't actually going to go to homecoming, but we had the plan of, now, like, he's going to ask me and everyone's going to see it, and then it's going to be like, oh my god, the attention's off of her, and it's like, wow, like, Katie and him are going to go to homecoming. It's supposed to be like that sort of thing, like, like, the attention's off of you. We were so immature, oh my god. Anyway, we were just annoyed with her, so this was our plan. He was going to ask me, so he did. So he made a sign and everything, and people saw it, and it was like, oh, that's so cute, like, they're going to go to homecoming together, and it was like, it was fine, it was done. And then, for some reason, we ended up actually going. Like, I wasn't ever planning on going. It was very close to homecoming too, so it was like I didn't have a dress. Like, I was not planning on going. But then this is what he said. He said he told his mom, and then she like wrote a check for the tickets, and then it was just like, well, now we have to go. Like, now thinking about it, I'm like, why did you tell her? But anyway. So we did end up going, and we got what my friend's sister so lovingly refers to as ADS, after dance syndrome. Basically, when you go to dance with someone and then something develops afterwards, and eventually we did become a couple. And the relationship didn't last very long. He was the first boyfriend I'd had who was ever, like, he wasn't mean to me, but he was kind of rude. Like, he wasn't, he was like okay, I guess you could say it was like a bad boy thing, I guess all girls have to do it at some point. And so, I don't know, that's just what happened. And we weren't together for very long. We broke up. It was like the first like bad breakup I'd ever gone through. It wasn't like crazy bad, but it was like the first time I was like, we are not going to be friends. And so that happened. We broke up. The end. But then after that ended, when I was single again, I was in sort of another love triangle, which I totally forgot about this one. And I just shake my head, guys. There's just, why did these things happen? I don't know. So, love triangle for Katie, number 2. And I really think this was the last one. I really hope it was. There were these two guys. One was a junior. At the time I was a sophomore, and there was one who was a senior. Now, I don't remember how the two of them and I somewhat became in the same vicinity of each other. I really don't remember the whole story, but one of the guys, the senior, I met him, I think it was like back to school night when I met him, and then he was just like taking people to like classes and stuff, so we met then, and then he was a senior, so he knew my brother, who was also a senior at the time. And he actually, this is what bothers me, he became closer friends with my brother, I think, to get to me, which bothers me, I think, more than it does my brother, because he's just like, whatever, I mean, as long as you're happy, type of thing. And so, that was senior guy. And the junior guy, I still to this day do not remember how we started talking. I think it was like on AIM. Yeah, back in the day on AIM, AOL Instant Messaging. We started talking on there, but I don't remember how it started. And so we started talking, but I was like, I thought it was like a friendship. We had like mutual interests, and I thought we were friends, but apparently not. And so I was in this like love triangle situation, and it was like, who do I pick? Do I pick junior guy or senior guy? And eventually I picked senior guy. We were in a relationship. This relationship was the most it was bad. It was bad. My sophomore year was not my best year as far as dating went. I was his first girlfriend, and anyone who has ever been with a guy who has never had a girlfriend before knows what this is like. I don't like wearing the pants in the relationship. That's just not how I roll. And so it was not fun. And I realized in this relationship that I needed a guy who could get mad at me. Not that I wanted him to, but that could get mad at me. Like, if I was treating him badly, if I was doing something wrong, like, I wanted him to be like, what is your problem? We need to talk about this. Like, get your act together type of thing. That sounds kind of rude, but I just needed some sort of, like, something. And he was more of like what's wrong? Like, what am I doing wrong? Like, why are you so mad at me? Like, why won't you talk? I was just like, no. No. Like, do not whine at me. I cannot baby you. Like, this is not how I feel. Like, this is not happening for me. So that didn't work well for me at all. But the thing is, I just couldn't bring myself to break up with him. So I went through this, like, month of just, like, pissed offedness. That's not a word. Anyway. And then prom season came around. He asked me to prom, even though I'm pretty sure he knew that I didn't want him to ask me to prom. And he asked me in front of the entire dance team, which again was not so great because, of course, I had to say yes. And he had my best friend at the time make the sign. She paid for the sign and all the supplies to make the sign, and he never paid her back, which is really annoying because, anyway, I had to say yes but I was very mad. It was very clear. I was just like, yes. So I said yes, but eventually, a little bit later, very soon after that, I was like, you know what, I can't go to prom with you, and I really can't be in this relationship anymore. It's not working for me. I'm really sorry, but that's that. So we ended it, but then junior guy, remember junior guy who was in the love triangle with me? He asked me to prom in my pre-calc class, and I said yes, and we went to prom. Prom was kind of awkward because senior guy, my ex, now my ex at the time, he was like staring at us with these like sad eyes. It's just like super awkward. Oh my god, my sophomore year was so stupid. That was that. That's pretty much, I feel like that's it. No, me and junior guy never became a couple or anything. I just wasn't really into him. Like, I didn't really want to be in a relationship with him. I really liked him. He was a super cool guy, a really good friend, but I just didn't want to go down that path. So I guess you could say he got friend zoned. I don't know. So that was my, I think, everything from sophomore year, if I remember correctly, but it was just ridiculous. See, my life is dumb. I look back at things. When I say high school doesn't matter, I would 100% mean the high school doesn't matter. Overall, what do I have to say about sophomore year? Sophomore year is when things start to count, when grades start to count, when things start to change. Not to be weird, but that's when I feel like my body started to change too. Like, I'd always been super, super skinny, like really, really skinny, but I feel like my body started to fill out a little bit more sophomore year, just a little bit. And so that kind of freaked me out too. So just things were changing like all around, and so that was my sophomore year of high school. So I know this video was rather long, but I hope you guys liked it, and that is it. I will see you guys next time. Bye!